I don't think it's a stretch to say that Minecraft is a generation-defining game. If those of you watching, I predict that most of you have played Minecraft at least once in your life, and if you haven't, you've at least heard of it. The story of Minecraft's story follows a familiar arc. There was the heyday in the early 2010s, followed by a recession in popularity until its revival in the late 2010s and into the 2020s. We all know these chapters of the story. But where did the story begin? How did we get to where we are now? The earliest version of Minecraft that still exists is nothing but a swath of green. There is no sound, only the player exists. The player has the ability to place and destroy blocks, the type of which depends on where they are placed. Blocks at the same level as the grass turn into grass, and those above or below turn into cobblestone. The world is a blank canvas, a green screen. This version of Minecraft was the first to be made available publicly, posted on the TIG source forum under the name Minecraft (Alpha). The world hasn't been flat for a couple days now, but most versions between RD 13.22.11 and this one have been lost, and exist only as images, or not at all. In fact, even the existence of this version, 0.011a, is hazy, as the world in this video is not the one that exists in the launcher. When you access version 0.011a in the current Minecraft launcher, this is what you see. The same 4 blocks, stone, dirt, cobble, and planks, are available, plus a sapling, but the world is flat stone and populated by the mob called humans, which is a rather uncomfortable experience. The months between early and late classic versions were dedicated to multiplayer and survival tests, the latter of which introduced the 4 horsemen known as zombies, skeletons, spiders, and creepers. Late Classic 0.30 was released in both a creative and a survival mode, with the creative versions showcased here. The iconic and inherently nostalgic soundtrack was introduced in version 0.022a a few months prior, and suddenly, the simple world has come alive. The biggest change from previous versions was a drastic improvement in world generation time, from a couple minutes to only a few seconds, but other than that, Minecraft is still in the exposition of its story. The third phase of Minecraft's development is in-dev, short for in development. During this time, the fundamental features of Minecraft arose, including crafting and smelting, and items such as tools, pork, and torches. This version is featured in particular for its addition of diamonds, one of the most cherished items in Minecraft to this day. This version also featured the in-dev house, spawned upon world generation, that provides 1 stack of every item in the game to the player. You may also notice that the stacks are in stacks of 100 instead of stacks of 64. You may also notice the mobs, which have changed from using the skin and model from Notch's unreleased game Zombie Town, a skin and model that would later be known as Steve, to that of Rana, a character created by Doc, an ex-Minecraft dev, for a separate project several years before. I think it's fair to say that InDev 2100-128 is one of the strangest versions of Minecraft. InDev 2100-223 is the last version of Minecraft to fall under the InDev development phase, and the world seems a lot more normal now, with the removal of the InDev house chests and the Rana-skinned mobs. This version, besides the sadness that comes with being the last of its kind, is also notable for the addition of the original 19 paintings. Creepers also seem to have a habit of moving at uncomfortably fast speeds. Perhaps more crucial to the game, however, a log can now be crafted into 4 wood planks. Planks used to be dropped when breaking a log, and bread is now crafted from 3 wheat instead of 6, and cobblestone can now be smelted into stone. A little over a year into its story, Minecraft InfDev marked a major chapter in the development of the game. Now, the world was infinite. This version specifically is the first of the Secret Friday updates, a series of updates continuing into Alpha that usually added major new features into the game. The first update added rails, minecarts, which were not rideable and instead worked as a sort of transportable chest with rising dirt indicating how full it was, and gravity, allowing sand and gravel to fall. Gravity was a bit buggy in the beginning, however. Placing falling blocks above signs kept them continuously bouncing until the player left and rejoined the world or broke the sign. I think that out of all the chapters of Minecraft, Alpha holds a certain sway over the community, a nostalgic power not seen in any other version, before or since. There are 51 versions of Minecraft Alpha, split into 3 groups. This version is the 7th, also known as Secret Friday 4, an update adding the winter mode, snow, ice, and snowfall. Mobs now have their own sounds, instead of using the player hurt sound as a placeholder. By this point, redstone has been added, although it has very little functionality besides powering doors, as the only redstone items that have been added are wire and torches. By now, the world is more populated. This update added chickens, and previous updates throughout July added cows and slimes. Minecarts can now be crafted to include a furnace or a chest, and music, which had been absent since a later version of InfDev, was re-added along with 3 new tracks, Piano 1, Piano 2, and Piano 3, better known as Dry Hands, Wet Hands, and Mice on Venus. The music of Minecraft Alpha v1.0.14 is not just significant because of the tracks, though. Secret Friday 7 adds the jukebox, and the first 2 music discs, 13 and Cat. Oh, yes, and bookshelves, boats, cacti, reeds, later renamed sugarcane, and saddles have all been added by now too. Love it or hate it, the influential Nether Dimension was added in Minecraft Alpha's Halloween update, with its exclusive blocks of netherrack, soul sand, and glowstone, and the new mobs Ghasts, Pigmen, and Zombie Pigmen. In the overworld, a new terrain generator gives rise to the first biomes, 11 of them, sorted into the 3 categories of forest, desert, and tundra. Fishing was also introduced in this version, and also clocks and jack-o'-lanterns. And the sunrise now has a red glow. The reign of Minecraft Alpha ended in the last few days of 2010 with the ascension of a new chapter in the game's development, known as Minecraft Beta. Despite crossing the bridge of progress, few changes were made between the last version of Alpha and the first version of Beta. Most new features were on the server side of the game and had little impact on the player's experience. Nonetheless, despite the same outward appearance, the world would from now on be forever changed. Approximately halfway through the era of Minecraft Beta, a number of features now taken for granted have been added, including squids, bone meal, birch and spruce trees, beds, slabs, and redstone repeaters. Version 1.4 specifically added player's best friend, the wolf, which was the first mob able to be tamed. The rare brown and pink sheep were also added in this update, and the Minecraft logo was updated to its current unmistakable font. The last version of Minecraft Beta feels like holding your breath. Part 1 of the Adventure update laid the groundwork for some of Minecraft's most complex features, but did not complete them. A strange new mob, the Enderman, appeared, which growls like a zombie and doesn't quite fit in with the rest of the overworld. Killing them drops a pearl that doesn't yet have a purpose. Villages can be found, but they stand empty. Deep underground, long abandoned mineshafts host a deadly new spider. Deeper underground, imposing strongholds can be found, infested with silverfish. They harbor loot chests, but they seem to have been built for some other purpose. The player now gets hungry, and killing mobs results in experience. New food items give them the energy to sprint, and to explore the overhauled biomes, including the plains, extreme hills, taigas, and swamps. And last but not least, a feature was added that was a great relief to my filming efforts: creative mode. The nostalgic chapters of early Minecraft, Classic, InDev, InfDev, Alpha, and Beta, have come and gone. As the sun sets on the last version of Beta, a new era is about to begin, an era we are in now, which will change the game beyond Beta's comprehension: the full release. After 2.5 years of development, Minecraft was officially released. Players can now brew useful potions and poisons from a variety of new ingredients, including gas tears and fermented spider eyes. Crucial brewing supplies, nether warts and blaze rods, can be found from the imposing nether fortresses. Players can also enchant their items with the new enchantment table. Villagers now populate the empty villages, although they cannot yet trade. Fun fact, they were actually given the same AI as pigs. Animals can now be bred, making farming a more sustainable profession with the ability to maintain herds and flocks. Far out into the ocean, you can find the rare mushroom island, populated only by the strange mushrooms. 9 new music discs were added, bringing the total up to the classic 11. Most importantly, however, Minecraft now has an end. As the name suggests, Update 1.1 added spawn eggs. Initially, there were 20 different types for the 20 different mobs in the game. Besides the addition of spawn eggs, new hills variants of existing biomes were added, along with the super flat world type, and the game was expanded to support 56 new languages, including fictional languages such as Klingon and Quenya. Item changes allowed bows to be enchanted, and for all music discs except for 11 to drop from creepers. Infrastructure for improved mob AI was also added, although new behaviors have not yet been implemented. The biggest feature to be added by 1.2.1 was the jungle biome, an extremely dense forest with massive trees in which can be found the new mob ocelots. Taming an ocelot with raw fish will cause it to change into one of 3 cat skins: red, tuxedo, or Siamese. Village life has also grown more dangerous, as zombies now have a chance to siege villages, if they can get past the iron golems. On other news, the height limit was increased to 256 blocks instead of the previous 128, and mob spawners in multiplayer now show the correct mob instead of just a pig. Interesting side note, I'm not entirely positive, but I believe during this update was when I first started playing Minecraft. As might be expected from the title, this update provided one of the most crucial aspects of Minecraft gameplay, the Ender Chest. It also created the villager trading system along with emeralds, wooden slabs in all wood types, desert and jungle temples, a desert-specific village type, adventure mode, and book and quills, along with useful commands including /game mode, /time, /kill, and /give. The Pretty Scary update added a number of new mobs and items which generally have a spooky theme, such as witches, bats, mob heads, and cobblestone walls, but also flower pots and anvils. New food items, the carrot and the potato, were added, along with carrot on a stick and pumpkin pie. Most notable, however, was a new endgame boss, the Wither. Killing the Wither is a multi-step process that involves traveling to another fortress and killing enough Wither skeletons to collect 3 Wither skulls, which are rare drops even with a Fortune 3 enchantment. The Wither is a formidable foe, and upon killing it, the player is rewarded with a Nether Star, which can be used to craft the new beacon. The Redstone update did exactly as it sounds. Added a number of redstone items, including daylight sensors, droppers, hoppers, and also quartz, which is needed to craft the new comparators. Adding comparators was a big deal. As the major component in most redstone logic gates, their addition allowed for the creation of calculators and memory cells. The new redstone items allowed a number of useful creations to be built, such as automated smelters and automatic lamps. Besides redstone, one otherwise insignificant change to the game was an updated lava texture, which, while it did not affect the game, it did affect our hearts. Horses had long been featured in mods for Minecraft, but halfway through 2013, they became an official addition to the game. Horses in 1.6 behaved just as they do nowadays, but had a different model. There also wasn't a separate spawn egg for donkeys and mules yet. Instead, donkeys had a chance to spawn when a horse egg was used, and mules can only be obtained from breeding. 1.6 also saw the addition of hay, carpets, and hardened and stained clay, all welcomed blocks by the building community. Name tags, horse armor, nether fortress loot chests, and the absorption status effect were also added. About a year and a half after the last new biome was introduced, 1.7.2 decided to dunk on that previous achievement with the addition of the Mesa, Savanna, Sunflower Plains, Roof Forest, Birch Forest, Flower Forest, Mega Taiga, Extreme Hills Plus, and the Deep Ocean biome, so a few more. After all, it's only the update that changed the world. World generation changed too. Biomes will now avoid getting placed next to a biome that is too dissimilar, marking the end of instances such as jungles growing next to snowy plains. This update also added a number of new variants of existing items, such as stained glass, packed ice, podzol, and red sand, along with a number of new flowers. In fact, this was the update that replaced the legendary Rose of Antiquity with the Poppy. A new option appeared as well, Super Secret Settings, which allowed you to play the game in 1976, or to experience a Dionysian mystery. The majority of changes 1.8 made affect the behind-the-scenes aspect of the game, mainly focused on making it easier for map makers. This includes adding spectator mode, adding and extending commands, and introducing the customized world type, which allows you to make the game really easy, or to make it really hard. For an added debuff, you can combine it with the super secret settings to speedrun Eye Strain. However, there were significant features within the game as well. Diorite, andesite, and granite were added, along with slime blocks, armor stands, and banners. Fences, fence gates, and doors now have a variant for each type of planks. A few new mobs appear as well. Rabbits drop hide, meat, and feet, and spawn in 8 different skins. Naming a rabbit Toast gives a rabbit a special skin as a memorial to a real-life rabbit. There is also a rare, hostile variant of rabbit, the Killer Bunny, a reference to the Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It spawns only rarely, but does a lot of damage. 2 new mobs can be found in the new ocean monument structures, Guardians and the mini-bosses Elder Guardians, which definitely make the empty, royal blue oceans a little more interesting. Seven years into the story of Minecraft, the player discovers they have 2 hands. They then use this newfound power to level up their combat via dual wielding. Thus, the shield was born, along with a timed attack system and spectral and tipped arrows. The End also got a major makeover. The Ender Dragon now has a fight sequence that involves perching and shooting Dragon's Breath as a ranged attack. After defeating the dragon, the player can now travel to End Islands populated by chorus trees and the dangerous End Cities. Some of these End Cities contain airships, in which can be found one of the most coveted items in the game, Elytra. Beetroots were also added in this version, for some reason. The Frostburn update added a few new features into the game, mostly winter-themed. Polar bears and strays now spawn in ice plains and mountains, the latter of which shoots arrows tipped in slowness instead of regular arrows. Paired with strays, husks now spawn in desert biomes, which apply hunger when attacking. Massive fossil structures now generate underground in deserts and swampland, creating interesting implications for the Minecraft lore. The Exploration update expanded the villager world with the addition of illagers, who lay cloistered in massive woodland mansions. These mansions, located only in Roof Forest biomes, can be found using Woodland Explorer maps traded for from the new Cartographer villagers. There are 2 types of illagers in the game so far, Vindicators and Evokers, the second of which were added as mini-bosses and drop totems of undying upon their death. This update also added observers and shulker boxes, and, on a more wholesome note, llamas, found in Extreme Hills. They come in 4 skins and can be decked out in the finest carpets and chests for all your caravanning needs. The changes made in 1.12 were simple but powerful. Beds now come in the 16 dye colors, and brightly colored concrete allows for vibrancy terracotta doesn't allow. Speaking of terracotta, colored terracotta can now be resmelted to glaze it in bold patterns. A new mob was also added, parrots, found in jungle biomes and known for their proclivity to imitate hostile mobs and to dance to jukeboxes. Nine years into Minecraft's development, the oceans are finally teeming with life, rivaling the diversity on land. Oceans, rivers, and lakes teem with species-specific fish instead of simply fish. There are new ocean biomes dependent on temperature: warm ocean, lukewarm ocean, cold ocean, and frozen ocean, plus their deep variants. Also, ocean. I'm not too sure where it fits into the gradient. The oceans also contain ocean ruins, which look cool even if they don't have a purpose yet, and shipwrecks, and buried treasure chests. Conduits, when activated, allow the player to breathe underwater, give underwater night vision, and increase mining speed. When fully powered, conduits will attack hostile mobs within 8 blocks. There are several new mobs now found in the waters. Drowned, an underwater version of zombies, make the oceans a little more dangerous, although they're easy to avoid and mostly just annoying. Some of them have tridents, however, which can be enchanted to be a deadly ranged weapon, to hurl you through the air, or to summon the wrath of Zeus. Turtles can be found in warm beaches, and breeding them results in fragile eggs which zombies and drowned attempt to destroy. When the baby turtle matures, it drops a scoop, which can be crafted into a turtle shell helmet. There are also dolphins, a neutral mob which give the player the Dolphin's Grace status effect, which increases swim speed. You can combine this with Depth Strider 3 to break your neck. Phantoms were also added in this update, which are mobs that enforce a healthy sleep schedule. The Village and Pillage update overhauled villages and villagers. There are now 5 distinct village styles: the desert style in deserts, the plain style in plains and meadows, the savanna style in savannas, the snowy style in snowy plains, and the taiga style in taigas and snowy taigas. Villagers, in turn, now have skin types that correspond to each style, along with the jungle and swamp skins, which are rarely seen because villages don't spawn in those locations. Villagers now have improved AI with daily schedules, and take professions from job blocks. Trades now have levels based on trading XP, and higher level villagers trade higher quality items. Some of the new job blocks have functions that benefit the player. For example, lecterns allow you to display a book, which is then available for multiple people to view at once without having to pick it up as an item. Others, such as the smithing table, are not yet able to be interacted with. Also in this update, cats became their own mob, no longer tamed from ocelots. They spawn in villages as strays with 8 new skins along with the classic 3, but their behavior has not changed. The Illager world expanded along with the villager. Illagers now go on patrols, consisting mainly of pillagers, which otherwise can be found at pillager outposts. Killing a patrol leader will result in a mysterious bad omen status effect, which will trigger a raid if the player with this effect unwittingly strays into a village. Independent from villagers and pillagers, foxes were added in 1.14, which can be tamed but not domesticated and can pick up items. Pandas also make an appearance, which hold the crown for being the second most complex mob after villagers, which is strange because they're a rare mob and completely useless. Nonetheless, they have a complex genetic code complete with recessive alleles. Mushrooms now have a brown mushroom variant, which does not spawn naturally and only occurs when a normal mushroom is struck by lightning. Smiting it again will turn it back to the red variant, although you probably have to let it recover from the first blast first. Relative to Village and Pillage, 1.15 was a relatively minor update. It's most well known for adding bees, honey, and beehives, but also made a number of changes to existing blocks, such as changing the hardness of endstone bricks to 3. Player hand use animations were expanded to cover more actions, and several commands were extended, including /data and /execute. .16 overhauled the Nether with 4 new biomes, 4 new mobs, and an entire new tier of equipment. The new biomes are the Basalt Deltas, a parkour paradise, the dangerous Crimson Forests, the eerie Warped Forests, and the Soul Sand Valleys, the Traveler's Nightmare. The original biome still exists, renamed Nether Wastes. In all biomes except Basalt Deltas, Bastion remnants can generate massive crumbling structures home to piglins and hoglins that contain in their loot chests some very valuable items. Piglins are a new mob who are known for their obsession with gold and their proclivity to trade like wandering traders. Scattered not only throughout the Nether, but also through the overworld, ruined portals generate, which contain useful loot and perhaps more questions about Minecraft's lore than answers. Throughout the Nether, but especially far below the surface, rare blocks of ancient debris may be found. Netherite is now the strongest tool, weapon, and armor tier in the game, and it looks pretty awesome. Most of the new features that Caves and Cliffs is known for only appeared in the second part of the update, so part 1 is a bit anticlimactic. Most of the new blocks, such as copper ore and amethysts, were added, the ores have updated textures, and dripstone and moss are in the game, although they do not have their own biomes to spawn in. Axolotls spawn in complete darkness, where there's a natural stone block less than 5 blocks below the spawning space, regardless of biome. They hold the achievement of being the first amphibian added to Minecraft, and come in 5 colors: leucistic, yellow, brown, cyan, and the rare blue. Glow squid have the same spawning requirements as axolotls, but as there aren't any underground aquifers yet, they aren't super common. Goats spawn in mountain biomes, but don't drop their horns yet when ramming into blocks. The now completed Caves and Cliffs update completely overhauled the overworld in all its glory. Caves are unfathomably large and have several biomes, and massive mountains stretch high into the sky. The y-axis now extends to -64, with values below 0 replacing stone with deep slate. There are 2 new biomes: dripstone caves, found inland and featuring stalactites and stalagmites, and lush caves, found under humid biomes, dense with moss, vines, drip leaves, and azaleas. Axolotls are exclusive to this biome, as is most of the vegetation. Mountains now come in 6 sub-biomes: meadows, groves, snowy slopes, jagged peaks, frozen peaks, and stony peaks. One important change to the game is a new ore distribution due to the increased y-axis. Thus, for the first time since Minecraft Alpha, players have had to change their mining habits, as previous notable Y levels, such as Y13, were no longer the most effective for a particular type of ore. In the deepest depths of the overworld, in caves in which no light has penetrated in time immemorable, grows a strange block akin to a fungus, called skulk. Rarely, in large caverns, it grows over the ruins of ancient cities, crumbling monuments of a civilization long gone. Once again, the implied Minecraft lore leaves more questions than answers. Under the open sky, the mangrove biome was added, an incredibly dense and waterlogged forest featuring unique vegetation and frogs. Frogs have an unusual breeding method where they lay eggs, frog spawn, in water that after some time hatches into tadpoles. In turn, these tadpoles eventually mature into frogs. Update 1.20 is the last chapter of Minecraft's story so far, but the next is being written as I speak. Released exactly 1 year after the Wild update, Trails and Tales introduced the science of archaeology into Minecraft. Underwater ruins now spawn with suspicious sand and gravel, which can be brushed to reveal hidden artifacts. Most are useless, but hidden treasures like sniffer eggs and pottery sherds can be found. Desert temples, too, now spawn with a hidden chamber buried under sand. Reminiscent of the previous update, another crumbling city can be found underground. Much closer to the surface and found in old forests, trail ruins tell the tale of a colorful culture that, like its ancient city counterpart, has mysteriously disappeared. Here, the latest disc, Relic, can be found. A new biome, the Cherry Grove, can be found on mountain slopes. The trees are unique in that they're animated, dropping their petals onto the ground below. A number of new decorative blocks and items were added in this update as well. There are 20 different types of pottery sherds, which can be combined with bricks to reconstruct pots. Tinsel bookshelves can store books, and signs can be hung from chains. 2 new mobs make an appearance: camels, which spawn in villages and can be ridden by 2 players but are so slow as to be functionally useless, and sniffers, which are considered to be the first ancient mob, and can be Jurassic Parked into existence by hatching eggs unearthed from suspicious sand. Crafting netherite armor also became more difficult, because now the netherite upgrade is needed, which is only found in bastion chests. The new smithing templates can be used to customize armor. There are 14 styles, ranging from the common coast to the ultra-rare silence. They can usually be found as chest loot, but also for mob drops and from suspicious blocks. So, where does this leave us? Minecraft is now 15 years old. During those 15 years, the game has evolved beyond what would have been predicted for a simple game set in a simple world. The feeling of Minecraft, its core emotions, have unquestionably changed since the days of alpha, for better or for worse. Who knows what it will become? The next chapter, Update 1.21, is slated to be released on the 7th of June, keeping time with the last two updates. With no epilogue in sight, we ask ourselves, when will it be written? Everything ends eventually. But more importantly, we ask ourselves, when we're at the end, and we look back at all that we've accomplished, what will we see?